Hey everyone, welcome to the Weeb Lounge. Now, there's a lot of videos out there that tell you, oh, this is the best AR to use, this is the best SMG to use. Look at my loadout, it's the greatest thing in the world. Yay, thermal scopes! I'm here to tell you what loadouts to use, what guns to use, what mode to use them in, how to properly set it up. The best stuff of all worlds from practical experience use. Not regurgitating info, not just blowing stuff out my ass. This is how you do it. All right, guys. Now, like I said, there's a lot of people out there that want to give you advice on the top 10 ARs, on this is the best gun, this is the best gun, or whatever. A lot of them are right in most respects, and a lot of them just are regurgitating information, and some of them are talking out their ass, to be quite honest. So this is what you got to do. Now, the first thing I'm going to address are thermal scopes. You see so many people say, oh, thermal scope, thermal scope, thermal scope. You know, you got to have it on your AR, you got to have it on your sniper, you got to... No! Thermal scopes are horrible. They're garbage. If somebody's recommending to you to use a thermal scope, the only reason you should use a thermal scope is if you're playing this game and you're pretty much blind. Okay? And then you're only going to get to see 30 to 40% of the players actually show up as a result of the thermoscope, because people are running cold-blooded and ghost and all these other perks that make that invisible. If you're running a thermoscope and they're running the proper perk to counter it, they turn into like a flat white nothing. Okay? Effectively, you're giving them extra camo. You're making them a little bit harder to find, and you're doing that to a majority of players. So why would you use a thermoscope? Well, if you need that 30 to 40% of players to just pop out because you're blind and you can't see shit, well, that's on you, not me. Anyways, avoid thermal scopes. My God, avoid thermal scopes. Now, I'm going to go over a couple of different loadouts. Some are for the Battle Royale mode. Some are for Plunder. And while there are some similarities, a lot of the guns you do use with one or the other doesn't really matter because they are top tier weapons. The playstyle is a little bit different sometimes. Now, first thing I'm going to do is go to my WarZone double loadout. Now, oh man, the double loadout, when you're playing Battle Royale, it's a good idea to have two loadouts. The first one uses overkill here for your middle perk. Why is that? The first time you get your loadout, you're going to get your good primary, you're going to get your good secondary, and you're going to get a couple of perks, lethals, whatever. You're going to get all your other stuff too, but you're not going to get Ghost. Ghost is really good for end game, very good for end game, which is why you set a second one that does have Ghost. Now, this requires that you get a loadout twice, and if you're hitting the end game, if you're getting toward the end, there's a really good chance that you've got multiple chances to get a loadout or drop your own, buy your own, whatever. So what you do is the first time you get a loadout, you get the one with the two primary weapons. When you come up to another loadout, you get the one that has Ghost, and then pick up the weapon that you drop, in this case, my MP7, and there you go. You have all the proper perks, you have all the proper lethals, tacticals, etc., etc. Now, let's start here with the first weapon. MP7. The MP7 is mostly regarded as a close range weapon, but it is actually very, very accurate long range. Now, it doesn't do a ton of damage long range, but man, you can laser beam people with this thing. And I can't stress enough how awesome this thing is. Literally, laser beam. You point, you shoot. The recoil is virtually zero on this loadout. So even at long distances, you can peck away at some people's armor, run off, do what you got to do. Muzzle. Monolithic suppressor. You're going to find that the monolithic suppressor is used on just about everything. Why? Because not only do you have the suppression factor, you also have the range factor. Sound suppression, damage range. Now, when it increases range, that means you do the same damage at a little bit further of a distance, right? There's still the range drop off and everything, but you get that little bit of extra distance where your bullets don't suffer any kind of damage reduction due to distance. So monolithic suppressor is king. It's pretty much used on everything. For the barrel, FSS recon. Again, damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control. Bullet velocity is really important because the faster the bullet gets there, the less you have to lead the target. Recoil control, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. It has negative aim down sight speed, but this SMG aims down the sight so ridiculously quick anyways, it don't matter. We're talking if you're running, 60 frames a second or maybe even 120, you're only losing like 1 or maybe 2 frames of that second in ADS time. It's in real world terms, it means nothing. Absolutely nothing. Laser none, optic none, stock none. You need to learn how to use the iron sights on this if you want it to be the most effective. A lot of people don't like iron sights. They might come to me and say, well, what would you recommend to get rid of because I want to use an optic? My recommendation is don't use an optic, you dumb fuck. If you're not used to not using an optic, get used to using an optic. Build it, take it out, play with it, learn it, practice. Practice makes perfect. For the longest time, I'm one of those guys who always had to have an optic of some kind. And I realized very quickly I'm kind of crippling myself. So get rid of the optic, learn how to work the iron sights, do what you got to do. Underbarrel. Commando foregrip. This is another one of those mainstays. It's on damn near every gun that you can possibly put it on. It is what it is. Ammunition. A lot of people, I keep seeing some people debate, you should just use 50 round mag so your ADS is just a little bit quicker and everything, all right? Now, let's say I put that on, all right, and I want to go here. You see the little red down there? That little tiny bit? You probably don't really see it down here much, do you? You probably can't hardly tell. If you can't hardly tell, use the damn 60 round mags. It's not going to make any difference. Except you get 10 more bullets, which means more damage, which means less reload. The people that argue for the smaller mags, for whatever reason, they're thinking that 1 frame per second extra ADS time is going to make all the difference in the world. In real world gaming environment, it means nothing. Go with the bigger mag. The stippled grip tape, that's just the one I like. ADS, sprint to fire speed. Sprint to fire speed always comes in handy because, you're running around all of a sudden. Oh, God, guy around the corner. Boom. You can get him a little bit quicker. The other ones, this one with extra recoil control, it already has virtually no recoil. This is worthless. And this aiming stability, aim walking steadiness, do you really need that? For that little dot to just go a little bit like this instead of go like the real world, it means nothing. Right here, stippled grip tape. That's your MP7 loadout. Now, let's say you find yourself engaging in fights that are maybe a little bit more long distance on average. And the MP7 is mainly for closer range fights, can do good damage at range, but let's say your play style is a little bit more cautious. You tend to take on more fights at distance. Was there something else that you should be using? Well, yes, there is. There is the GRA 556. Now, this has kind of become a mainstay in all WarZone everything. Because while if you hit in the chest or lower or whatever, it does kind of average mediocre damage. But for whatever reason, this weapon seems to have a really good headshot multiplier. So even at like really long distance, like I remember some guy was trying to snipe me, okay? And he's like 200 meters out, which for an iron sight weapon like this or whatever, you don't really engage that, right? Especially if it's a sniper. I aimed up, fired off half a volley, and killed him. He just dropped over dead, broke his armor, killed him, so he had at least 200 hit points, which basically means that when I did aim up and fire, I got those headshots. The multiplier was high enough to just laser beam him. And that's kind of what this gun ends up doing. It's another laser beam weapon, not quite as good as the MP7. The MP7, you don't really have any recoil control to worry about. There's nothing you have to really compensate for. The GRA is going to have a little tiny bit, very easy to manage. Muzzle, monolithic suppressor, big surprise there. It's on everything. Barrel, Tempest 26.4 Archangel. Damage range, velocity, recoil control, all the good stuff. Laser, none. Optic, again, none. And the iron sights actually changes depending on the barrel that you put on. And this barrel is not only the best barrel to pick, but it's also the easiest iron sight to manage. So works wonders. Again, if you're one of those people that absolutely need an optic, fuck you, go practice. Don't worry about the optic. Laser, optic, stock, perk, nada. Underbarrel, big surprise, commando foregrip. It's on everything. Ammunition. Why does it do that? Ammunition. Another thing, look at this. See that little bit of red there? Oh, I can get that little tiny bit of green back, and my ADS and movement speed will be up that tiny little bit. What is that? Like 2%, 2.5%? Who cares? Again, you're talking frames. Don't worry about the 50 round mag, 60 round mag. There you go. Rear grip. Rear grip is actually a little interchangeable. Now, I like the XRK because you get better ADS, sprint to fire speed. That comes in handy if you happen to get up in close-up fights, which this gun can handle close-up fights rather well. You find yourself fighting further distances far more often than close range, your Cronin Sniper Elite is the best one to go to. This guy, the recoil is already pretty much under control with all the other attachments. If you really want that extra little bit of recoil control, I guess you can go with this. But in all reality, you shouldn't need it. And that's the GRAW 556. That is a good, proper setup. Snipers. Okay, this is where I don't like what people do. Okay, this one actually kind of frustrates me a little bit. A lot of people will take the HDR over anything. They absolutely love the HDR. Balls on accuracy, blah, blah, blah. It's quicker reload, quicker hit, further down. They're all full of shit. Okay? Quite frankly. Okay? Yes, if you get a headshot with the HDR, it's a one-shot kill, just like the AX50. Absolutely no difference. But the problem is the HDR actually, when you use both of these guns a long amount of time and study them, you actually find out the HDR is not quite as accurate. The iron sights, the variable scope is not quite as accurate. And if you're trying to throw thermals on it, it's not quite as accurate. You basically need to be a lot more patient with the HDR. It seems in real world, real gaming environment, the HDR takes a little bit more patience to get that sight lined up properly, proper shots. And I've used the HDR so often where I'm standing still, I'm holding my breath, I'm aiming on the guy's head, he's maybe 75 meters away, bam, I pull the trigger and it hits dead air. And the guy doesn't even react because he's a dumb player. He's just standing there. And reload, do it, try it again, pop it off, doesn't hit. And I'm like, why is this not hitting? I'm aiming dead on. And that's happened multiple times across multiple encounters and everything. And it's just, it gets to the point where it's so frustrating. It's like, how am I missing, right? The AX50, I've never encountered that. I've encountered issues with lag, which is going to happen with any gun. That's just a thing. The AX50 is a powerhouse. It is pinpoint accurate if you use the proper loadout. All right. This is my loadout. Monolithic suppressor, big frickin' surprise. Barrel, 32-inch. Now, I'm not going for a loadout where I can jump out in the air, parachute down, release, do a 360 quick scope headshot or something with that stupid ass shit. Here's a quick little secret for you guys. You see those videos where these people are doing these 360 no scopes and hitting people in the head, and people are all clamoring, "Oh, he's so skilled, he's so skilled." No, he is lucky as all fuck. Okay. It has nothing to do with skill. He was like, I'm going to try to get me a nice little fancy clip and put it up on YouTube and I'll be praised. Yay. No, you stupid fuck. You got lucky. You probably tried it 100 other times. It always missed and you flatlined on the goddamn pavement. That's the reality of the 360 no scope. Sorry to break it to you. Anyways, 32-inch factory battle. The way we're gearing out our sniper is not for quick scoping. It's for actual performance as a sniper, as a scout class. You're not going to be using this up close range. You're not going to be quick scoping it. You're going to actually snipe the way it's supposed to be done. 32-inch factory barrel, damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control. Recoil control with these one-shot snipers means nothing. You don't need it, but it's there, and we need that barrel, especially for the damage range, bullet velocity. Laser, nothing. Optic. I was ranting about the thermal scope earlier on. This is king. The 5x to 12x variable zoom scope. You slap this on, it's a good standard scope. You learn to start judging distance. You learn to start zooming in and out as needed, compensating a little above the target or leading the target. When you start learning how to do all of that proper, this scope will make everything that much easier. And if something's within, I believe, 250 meters or less, basically, you put the reticle on their head and they drop. At 200 meters, it is dead on accurate. At 250, you might have to aim up just like a pixel or two. Not much of a difference. After 250, that's when it starts to decline and go down. That's kind of the same with most snipers. Every sniper behaves a little different. That's how this one goes. Up to 200 meters, dead on, pinpoint. 250 meters, you might have to go up a pixel or two, depending on distance. And after 250, you're just going to have to learn and you're going to have to judge. Variable zoom scope. Regular, not thermal. Stock, Sigurd, arms, marksman, aiming stability. Basically, when you're scouting around, aiming down the sights, and you're looking around and everything, you don't want all this stupid-ass sway all over the damn place, okay? Aiming stability. I like it. It comes in handy. Aim walk moving speed. If you're aim walking with the sniper, you're probably not doing it all that right. Yes, you change position. Yes, you're scouting around and everything, but it shouldn't be a priority at all. ADS, no. No. Before you peek around a corner, before you lift your head up over cover, you want to do it right, you should be aiming down the sight already, holding breath, pop up, get your target, and fire as quick as possible, and sit back down. You shouldn't be worried about ADS. Aiming stability. Underbarrel, the only option you have is a bipod. No. Ammunition, you get 5 rounds in this thing, okay? It's not much, but considering one bullet will one bullet takes out a guy with a headshot. In most cases, 2 good shots can lay someone out, depending where you hit. You don't need extra ammunition. There's no point to it. Rear grip, aiming stability, aim walking steadiness. Aim walking steadiness, again, it can help, but aiming stability, when you aim down the sight, you want that dot to not move as much as possible. It helps, trust me. And this is what you call just a proper sniper. Proper, long distance, actual sniping kind of sniper. Not 360 no scope, not running around point blank trying to do a little quick scope like you would with an iron sight Car 98 or something. None of that crap. When you use this loadout, you are proper sniping. Now, when it comes to WarZone and Plunder, obviously the gameplay is a little bit different. When it comes to Battle Royale, your goal is long-term survival. You don't want to die. When it comes to Plunder, it is fast-moving chaos, do the mission, get the money, go nuts. If you die, you die, get back as quick as possible. So the loadouts and everything can be a little bit different. Now, what I like to do for my regular WarZone, MP7, sniper rifle. I like to snipe. Now, there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to snipe, don't want to snipe. I have a solution for you. I'll have a little bit of an alternate loadout. It's basically my Plunder loadout, but it can work just the same. But basically, you want cold-blooded just so that you can say fuck you to all the thermal scope guys. Overkill so you can get the 2 primary. Amped. Amped comes in so handy, especially when you need to react and swap weapons quick and use equipment quick. It is wonderful. C4, obviously, because vehicles, throwing it around corners, it comes in handy more often than anything. Tactical, I kind of want to use the heartbeat sensor, okay? Now, the heartbeat sensor early on really, really comes in handy, but late game, you find yourself that heartbeat isn't working so much because people are starting to get ghost. Now, a lot of times at the end or whatever, some people, they've been to the gulag, they come out, they might not have got their loadout and everything. Heartbeat sensor does come in handy. I ain't gonna lie, it really does come in handy sometimes. Lethal, right now, I've listed mine as a proximity mine. I would still stick with C4. The only thing you do is you change from overkill to ghost, and those are your 2 loadouts for Battle Royale. What can you change up? This is what you can change up. Now, this is my standard close range combat loadout for Plunder. And you can use this pretty much exact same loadout for WarZone if you're not the sniping type or you tend to avoid more long distance fights. Growl 5.56, no changes whatsoever, exactly what I meant earlier. But secondary, and people will hate this. People will absolutely hate this. You will get rage. You will get people yelling and screaming at you. You will get called names in the little death chat that us PC guys hear once in a while. I don't know if it works. This does the same thing for the console guys, but the PC guys, here's a little bit of information a lot of people don't know. The PC guys, if we kill someone on console, your last few words when you die, we hear it. And some of it's hilarious. I actually have enough footage where I'm probably going to do a little compilation of it. Some of it's hilarious. Okay, back to the weapon. I'm getting off track. Oh. We are using the 357, the revolver. Now, how do we gear out this revolver to make people rage? Well, barrel. 357 long, damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control. We're going to be end up akimboing this thing, so what do we care? 80 down sight speed. We're not going to be. It's not a non-issue. Movement speed, Laser, tac laser, ADS, aiming stability, aim walking steadiness, all that good stuff. The other stuff, I kind of want to use this, but some of it, it's like, I don't know, which one do I do? Because it feels like the tac laser will actually get my shots when using akimbo a little more centered. It doesn't, I don't know. I kind of want to use the 5 milliwatt laser, but I haven't experimented with it enough. I'm not sure if I really want to try it or not, but maybe I will. I seem to hit really, really good just using the tac laser, so I just kind of leave it at that. Trigger action, lightweight trigger, fire as fast as you can. That's all you need about that. Ammunition, I use the snake shot, buckshot filled shells. It turns this gun into basically a shotgun. It's evil. Now, the range goes to shit on this thing, okay? It really does. But up close and personal, especially when you're using akimbo, my God. It's nasty. It is so nasty. There was one time I'm playing Plunder. I'm in a house. I'm sitting on like $500,000 or something like that, all right? I'm marked. So I got people flying in and flying in and flying in. Especially this one team that would not give him up. They kept rushing my building. My guys are stuck in other buildings because they're kind of getting swarmed by other things too. I'm stuck in a primary, and this team swarmed me 3 times. I team wiped them 3 freaking times, all with this akimbo loadout. They apparently didn't learn. So I got 9 kills, just boom, team wiped 3 times. And that's similar to that scenario has happened quite an awful lot, especially in Plunder. And people in Plunder tend to play more reckless. If they don't have much money, or they really, really need the money, and they, if they die, they die. If they don't, whatever, they'll rush in, they'll charge you. If they charge into this, they are dead. Now, if you don't have akimbo yet, use the same loadout. Change the perk to recon, because you need those 5 kills in a match with recon, and still use it. You can use it in team deathmatch. You can use it in Plunder. It'll level that up all the same. I did mine in Plunder just because I wanted to mess with people with the gun, whatever. And using the recon, 5 kills. I think it's 5 kills in a match, in a single match, 5 times, and you do that, unlocks akimbo. Boom, you get it. It's easy stuff. For Plunder, C4, amped. I can't stress amped enough. You want to switch out those weapons. Ghost, cold-blooded. It's an awesome loadout for Plunder. Flash grenade. You don't need heartbeat sensor for Plunder because you're not playing that cautious. You're not worried that much about survivability. You want to be a little bit more on the offensive. So I just use a flash. Heartbeat sensor, you just don't need. Now, I do have an alternate loadout where instead of the akimbo, I have my sniper rifle that I mentioned earlier in it. In Plunder, I find myself not really needing to snipe. And here's the downside. If you're a sniper in Plunder, and let's say you get a headshot on somebody 250 meters out, okay? Awesome. You had a good shot. You killed him. Good job. Where's the money? The money's 250 meters out. You can't get it. I mean, you can, but it's a little bit of a walk, right? Can one of your buddies go get it? Well, maybe they're over here. They're not out there. So sniping in Plunder is kind of dumb, really. Unless you have a plan, like your guys are going out fighting or whatever, and you're kind of sitting back and you're laying cover for them, or some tactic like that. I guess it's okay, but if not everybody's going out getting and earning that money in Plunder, you're doing it wrong. So this loadout I don't recommend unless you just like to snipe. If you just like to snipe, go for it. And that's my loadouts. That's all there is to it. You have the GRA 5.56 or the MP7. With my loadouts, those should be your primary weapons. One of those two, bar none. Don't even think about any other gun. Don't. Alternate weapon, if you have the 5.56 and you don't want to snipe, use the Akimbo 357. If you do want to snipe, the 50 cal. I can't stress the 50 cal enough. HDR, I'm sorry. I've used it enough. It's garbage. Don't do it. C4 for your lethal and pretty much everything. In Battle Royale, heartbeat sensor is more likely your best bet, especially early on. Towards the end game, yes, it can still be useful, but since more people have ghosts, generally a good idea to swap that up. Plunder, all about movement, getting that money. Got to do what you got to do. And here's one thing that I hope every single one of you out there completely and utterly avoid. Rocket launcher loadouts. If you're one of those guys in Plunder, or even WarZone, I've seen it in WarZone, but in Plunder, where you're parachuting in, you got amped, and you're rocket launching people from the sky as you come in, or you're like Nick Merckx, which I don't know why he gets so much praise, but whatever, where he'll have a rocket launcher and he'll just constantly fire it into buildings and reload it real quick, fire, get a whole bunch of kills and be like, yeah, I'm good. No, you're not, you stupid fuck. No, you're not. If you use a rocket launcher to get a majority of your kills, or even half your kills, or one kill as far as I am fucking concerned, unless you're hitting a vehicle with it, fuck you, okay? You have no skill, you're not worth my time, eat shit. That's my thoughts on that. So, rocket noobs, yeah. Avoid being a rocket noob. Please avoid being a rocket noob. Why? Because one, you'll use an actual weapon and you'll practice. Maybe your skill will actually go up to some respectable level if you feel the need to use a rocket launcher all the damn time. And two, you won't get the hate. People absolutely hate the rocket launcher noobs. They are the bottom of the barrel in WarZone, and I can't stress enough at how shit they are. Oh, it drives you insane, and that is one thing that I will not enjoy. I feel guilty using Akimbo. I really do. To me, Akimbo is pretty damn cheap, but when you start to realize that it's really only good indoors and very, very close range, it has a huge drawback to it. Whereas the rocket launcher is like, wee, I won, yay! Yeah, go fuck yourself. Just, yeah. Rocket launcher noobs, go away, fall in a ditch, live down there, eat sewage, don't care. Those are my thoughts. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button. I'm sure in time, as more weapons come out and balance and everything changes, I'm sure I'll do another video, change it up a little bit, get some compilation videos out there. Until then, don't use a rocket launcher. Don't be a rocket noob. Use it on vehicles. We're cool. Otherwise, see you in the next video.